Hello everyone and welcome to another video. This week I wanted to talk about the 5 things I've learned from the 5 projects I did in my sculpture class last semester. These don't have anything really to do with technique. They're more life lessons that I learned with each project. So with that, let's get started. This has been something I've struggled with probably my whole life, to be honest. With the first project, we were working on a head sculpture, and I had never done sculpture before this class. But yeah, I had the expectation for myself that I had to be amazing and perfect at it and have it be completely realistic and look like the model. So that's where I was starting from. My first time taking a sculpture class. So fun. The whole time as I was working on this sculpture, I was looking at my classmates, looking at my teachers, and just making these comparisons and holding myself to these standards, especially my teachers. I wanted to do work like his, because he's been doing it for years and this was my first time. It just made me hate the whole process. I hated what I ended up with. I hated working on it. I just wanted to be finished. I wanted to throw it away when I was done. I hated it. And I know it's because I was comparing myself to others and focusing on having a perfect end product. What makes me happy is creating art that has emotion, has style, it has my voice in it. And when I'm not doing that, when I'm holding myself back and comparing and trying to create something that isn't me, then I hate it. Simple as that. My joy, my love of art was gone. I wasn't creating for art's sake, I was creating for perfection, I guess. And it sucked. So by comparing myself to others, I realized I wasn't listening to my inner artist, which is what makes me happy, is listening to my inner artist. So on the second head sculpture, I took what I learned from the first one and made the goal to listen to my inner artist. I focused on making art and not a replica of the model. I was intentional with all the marks I was making and pushing the clay around to create the shape and the marks and the texture that I wanted, and exaggerating features of the model instead of trying to make them perfect, but just I wanted to create something that I saw, not what reality was. Yeah, and I feel like that's what makes art beautiful, is it's the person's take on the world. So when I finished the sculpture, I absolutely loved it. I was so much happier with it than the first one. So I set it on the shelf to be put in the kiln, and when it came back, the face was blown off. Yeah. The one sculpture I was really, really happy with, just this part of the face was gone. It was gone. What was ridiculous was my first reaction when I saw that the face had blown off was, oh no, my grade! What is the teacher gonna think? I hated that was my first reaction, and that was my first thought was my grade. And I feel like that is another piece as to why I've been hating art lately, is because I've been so focused on the grade as opposed to creating something and experimenting and having fun and doing what I love. Immediately I tried switching my mindset and thinking, okay, what can I do with this? What story can I tell? What do I need to express? An initial idea came to mind. The sneaky little negative person in the back of my mind was telling me, you don't want to do that. People are going to think it's weird, or it's something they've all seen before, it's not unique, and all of this stuff. So I tried thinking of other options and making a bunch of sketches, but I kept coming back to this first idea and decided to stick to what my goal was at the beginning and to listen to myself. I decided to paint it in this kind of saint aesthetic. So I named this piece Silenced Faith as an expression of how I have felt like I've been suppressing my own faith and spirituality. I wanted the focus on the eyes and the gold to really stand out as it represents my faith, and The tears represent how I had been hurting myself by hiding my faith and who I am. And also to represent that no matter how far I think I've gone from my faith and who I am, it always comes out again, and it's gonna break free because it's, you know, it's me. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing this piece and letting myself accept myself and express something very close to me. So this kind of is an extension of the previous point, listening to yourself, that creative intuition that sometimes feels like a separate part of you. I started learning that in the previous sculpture that I did, but with this next one, we were tasked with creating a formalism piece, which, let me tell you, I was not excited to do. I think abstract and formalism pieces are cool to look at, they're fun, but I've never really, they don't intrigue me like a lot of illustration does. And to each their own, they're still beautiful, but it's just not something that I've really caught on to. So starting this project, I hated it. I created sketches out of clay. I had no idea what I was doing. So already I was kind of making that decision that I would just work on it intuitively and not plan too much because I didn't know what to plan for one. So it was hard. I kind of hated the whole process, but at the same time, I had fun trying to create something out of nothing, I guess. It's a really interesting process to create something that doesn't exist, to using no references or anything to help guide you. And I think it was a really good practice for me, especially at that time, coming from a place where I feel like I have to have something perfect and I think I'd been relying a little too heavily on references for a while. And I definitely built a greater appreciation of abstract and formalism art, understanding how these artists completely rely on their artistic intuition and create these pieces of art. It was really cool. So, and I named this piece Perspective, going along with being able to look back and see everything I've learned and all the choices I made to end up with this final piece that I had no idea where I was going when I started. A lot of doors are opened for us and we don't take or go through them, take these opportunities because we're scared. By we, I mean me. Until I took this class, I had only learned about 2D career options. I didn't realize there was a whole other avenue I could explore in 3D. I had got stuck in this mindset that I had to pick one thing to do, one thing in illustration, like either entertainment or publication, and if in entertainment, one thing in entertainment, like concept art, can't do anything else. And it really started to weigh down on me. Still does, I'm still working on it. I started realizing as I was working on this specific project that there is so much more I can do being an artist as my career. Being an artist is the career, and I can do anything under that label. With this project, I wanted to create something that could be used, not just looked at, not just sat on the table. I wanted to make something that I could use in my home. So I thought of a few options. I thought first of making a cake, which I wouldn't be able to eat because it's not the right food safe silicone. I couldn't use that exactly, but it would have been cool, would have been fun. And I thought of doing soap, making it out of ice, but I ended up going with a candle because I knew I would use that. I love candles. And I thought it would just look really cool with a sleek looking owl having a flame out of its head. And it did end up looking pretty cool, so good choice, me. So I made things kind of hard for myself to find clear, unscented candle wax. I only could find one place locally that sold the wax, and I scented it myself with lavender oil just because I love floral scents, especially lavender. And I put dried flowers in it that I've had for years, just tucked away in my bookshelf. And I finally used them. Probably not the safest thing. You know, I'm still testing that out, see how far it goes without catching fire. I actually couldn't find wicks, candle wicks long enough. So I just melted down one of those like tea light candles and used that 2-inch long candle wick, stuck it at the top of the mold and poured the wax in just so I could get the effect when I presented it in class. So next time I make it, we'll get the red candle wicks. And I decided to do some light washes of gold acrylic on it to accentuate the textures I was able to get in the oil-based clay that transferred into the silicone mold. I really liked them and I thought it added story to the character, especially on the wings and like the face. I like the like dents and thumbprint marks that I got in there. I thought it was a nice touch. And then I just outlined the face, eyes, and nose with gold acrylic, just so I could accentuate the shapes and the form of the sculpture. And yeah, I really like how it ended up. In fact, I love it. I love it a lot. I have it right there. And I want to make a bunch more and put them on my Etsy shop. You know, it's good for me to learn to recognize these different opportunities that I can take in my career and explore different options and find things that make me happy. I think by the time I got to the end of the semester, I was done. You know, I had a lot of fun with the semester, but once you get to the end, you know, you just want to be done. And with this last project, I just wanted to have fun and not stress about thinking of something clever and unique or whatever. I just wanted to let loose and have fun. So we were tasked with creating like an assemblage sculpture of a skull. You know, first I tried to thinking of a bunch of different ideas that would seem cool, but in the end I just want to make it out of caramel popcorn. So I did. Made my own caramel, because I also just love to bake and cook. I had fun finding a good caramel recipe and made that, and then popped the popcorn, mixed it all together, sculpted it, and it was actually really therapeutic. It smelled good. I just had a show on in the back. Wasn't trying to make it look perfectly realistic, just, you know, basic skull shape. I wanted just a simple decoration, nothing too fancy, so I just got some dark chocolate to accentuate the cavities of the skull, and then I wanted like a melted wax look on the top, so I got white chocolate and just dripped that on top, and then added sprinkles because it's the holidays, and why not? It was fun. And that's it. That one was pretty simple. I had a lot of fun ending the semester that way, being able to reflect and see how far I'd come by that point, starting out the first one of wanting to be a rigid perfectionist to just having fun, not caring what grade I get, just wanting to make a caramel popcorn skull. So that was a really good experience for me, and I am so grateful for the sculpture class and for how it pushed me in that way. And I think overall what I learned, the most important thing that I learned was that I just want to be me. I just want to be myself and create art with my voice and not get hung up on what I think other people are thinking about what I need to create. Even if they are thinking it, just not caring. And you know, why I want to be an artist is to express myself and use my voice and push myself by learning different things, different mediums, different techniques, exploring and failing and learning something from it. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you learned something as well, or can apply some of these things to your classes and your experience if you're struggling with some of the things I have. And I will see you next time. Bye!